doom. Bad elves go everywhere. Talia had been freed from the clutches of good. Before she could start her journey to the Council of Little Snots, however, she had to first gather strength. The Big Eaty. Talia had caught the young Gorgu's favor. With a little more power, he could quickly become the new absolute evil. But to do so,
power is indescribable.
Talia had returned safely from the Council of Little Snots. And she was not alone, but also had...
Forward, men! Fight this abomination! The Alliance of Good shall not fail! Well, not again!
Heroes prepared to push towards the dungeon and would inevitably encounter Gorgu. Apparently, Talia had to ensure not only his empowerment, but also his safety.
Oh, this babysitting is already getting on my nerves, and I don't even get paid for it. But okay, at least the heroes come straight here to get their asses kicked. Go ahead, whack 'em on the beans, smash their gourds, put radishes in their eyes.
In order to catch living heroes for Gorgu, a prison would need to be built. Immediately, Talia and the incarcerating evil set out to build such a room.
Prison? Sounds like a sensible thing to do. Bet it's fun to watch some sorrowful characters languishing away there.
The planless evil scouts had discovered some undead that Tristan had captured. These necromancers and vampire queens would be a most welcome addition.
Exactly! More cannon fodder for the front. I mean, strong support for our army. Go on, free them. Get them out of there. Send them draft notices.
Manowars have been discovered in your dungeon. Payday. A new area has been unearthed in the dungeon. A few manivores have appeared in your dungeon.
Brothers, the time has come! Now it is up to us to bring the realms of good to blossom once again. There in the underground, my evil stepsister has allied herself with the deviant creatures of chaos. The absolute evil's last stand. Forward, men! Destroy this abomination once and for all!
Tristan seemed to know how to motivate his men. They rushed towards the dungeon with a battle-hardened fervor.
All right, creatures, we'll show my brother. Tear them to pieces, beat them to a pulp, and, oh, don't hurt them too much, because we need them alive for Gorgon.
Your vampire queen joined the undead evil. Her healing powers were captivating. Wonderful. A dwarven base is being expanded. Enemies have entered the dungeon. Ding dong! It's payday! Talia and the merciless Evil had repelled the first wave of attack, but the heroes would not stand idly by and would soon move in again.
I sure hope so, because we're going to have to feed a lot more of them to Gorgu. Come on, bring it on, like lambs to the slaughter.
Something truly unnatural made its way up from the depths of Gorgu's cute little body, a sound that made the do-gooders freeze in shock.
Ugh, don't forget the fetid smell at the end. That's really nasty. But hey, if it knocks some heroes out for a bit, forward, creatures! Get them, beat them up, and don't forget to hold your noses. I'm back in the game.
The newly built prison gleamed and sparkled, or normally would have, but the little snots had just cobbled it together out of old materials. Still, it would serve its purpose and keep living heroes captive. These could then be fed to Gorgus using the Hand of Terror. The ingenious Evil surely knew that it was only a matter of time before heroes would descend upon Gorgu. Wisely, it cranked up workshop production in order to be able to set traps.
Sure, naturally I knew that. By all means, onward, little snots! Work faster!
The baby-feeding Evil had thrown Gorgu his first hero. The young little snot gleefully set about soaking up its soul energy.
Oh, the little one is so cute. Now a little pup, and then let us rain death and destruction upon the humans!
Talia's certainty of victory seemed somewhat premature, for Gorgu's hunger was far from satisfied. It would take many more heroes before he would reach his full strength. Once again, many heroes gathered to attack the dungeon.
Ding dong, it's payday.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon. The dwarf destroying evil had defeated the dwarven jailers and thus gained access to their secret prison. A hero died in prison. The forgetful evil had left him there instead of feeding him to Gorgu. Most regrettable. Enemies are in the dungeon. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. Talia and the perfidious evil had easily repelled another attack by the heroes.
Ding dong, it's payday.
A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. Several heroes had gathered together and were making their way to the dungeon.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. a hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers.
Payday.
Another hero attack broke uselessly on the defensive Eviiill's dungeon. Your little snots have dug into a spider nest. You have unearthed a new area in the dungeon. Gorgu seemed reasonably satisfied. Talia and the lamb gravy-seeking Eviiill have probably satisfied the little one over a fifth of his hunger. The first step had been taken.
That was ridiculously easy. Open wide, Gorgu. Here comes the next hero.
Your gallant Eviiill had freed some vampire queens who willingly joined its army. Since they neither glittered nor had any interest in romantic comedies, they were most welcome in the truly evil's army. The Vampire Queen not only dealt damage to enemies in the area, but also distributed the life energy collected from enemies to undead creatures nearby. Once again, many heroes gathered to attack the dungeon. Enemies are in the dungeon.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. The necromantic evil welcomed a necromancer into its ranks. These undead mages could rain powerful magic upon their enemies once it was researched. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu.
Ding dong, it's payday.
A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. Talia and the murderous evil had repelled an attack by the heroes with no great effort. The destruction of the hero camp suddenly opened up a dungeon gate very close by. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. A hero died in prison. The forgetful evil had left him there instead of feeding him to Gorgu. Most regrettable. The absolute evil had tossed a hero into Gorgu's chambers. Several heroes had gathered together and were making their way to the dungeon. The resurrected evil's undead creatures had previously seen a video called Brother or something like that, and had been in dance fever ever since. higher level undead demanded a necrodancian where they could indulge their latest obsession. The necrodancian had been built. Undead flocked by to swing their bony hips there. Those undead, who no longer had hip bones, just stood on the sidelines, swaying back and forth in time to the music. Your enemies are in the dungeon. A gold vein has been mined out. The zombie-like evil had freed all the captured undead, making his army even more powerful. This deserved a fanfare, but since the budget for sound effects has already been used up, I will have to do the honors instead. Doo-doo!
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Even in a sailor suit, I kick ass. Like, literally. Not like that dumb superhero.
The jailbreak preparing evil had eliminated a prison's dwarven guards. The prisoners now belonged to it alone. Gorgu's stomach was already almost half full. The budding celebrity chef Eviiiill seemed very pleased with itself. Surprising, seeing as all these heroes were served raw.
Hey, what about me? I'm very satisfied myself. Maybe we'll stuff an apple in the next one's mouth.
Ding dong, it's payday.
A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu.
Your throne room is under attack.
Another hero attack broke uselessly on the defensive Eviiiill's dungeon. Your little snots have dug into a spider nest. Area of the dungeon has been discovered. a hero died in prison. The forgetful evil had left him there instead of feeding him to Gorgu. Gorgu slowly developed a little paunch, but the diet of only heroes obviously seemed to agree with him. At least he was accumulating lots of soul energy.
Ugh. That last hero had munched enough garlic to take out all the vampires in all of the kingdoms. But whatever. Keep it up, Gorgu. Soon you'll be a great and powerful dungeon lord, and you'll finally be able to do something useful.
Once again, a golden portal suddenly opened in the dungeon. If Talia and the overrun evil failed to destroy it, heroes would inevitably use it to enter the dungeon.
What? But all my lovingly placed traps and defense plans. I even drew them in using colored pencils. Whatever. Go on, creatures. Destroy those magical portals. Just hammer on them with your weapons. That'll destroy them. That's how it always worked before.
On the other hand, it still needed heroes to feed Gorgu, so maybe those portals weren't all bad for Talia after all. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Gorgu was besieged by heroes who fought him. Talia had to do something about it. A gold vein has been mined out.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Talia and the perfidious evil had easily repelled another attack by the heroes. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Payday. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. A hero had been cast into Gorgu's chambers. Several heroes had... Another portal opened in the dungeon.
There are enemies in your dungeon. Your enemies are in the dungeon.
hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Gorgu was almost completely sated. He didn't need much more to reach his full potential.
All right, let's move on to the desserts. There's hot raspberry hero, hero brulee, and oh, what the hell, there's just more normal heroes from the dungeon. Go on, keep on munching. It's your patriotic contribution to the evil empire.
It's payday.
Talia had to act as Gorgu was being attacked by heroes. Gorgu once again uttered an unnatural sound. Talia and the murderous evil had repelled an attack by the heroes with no great effort. Another hero attack broke uselessly on the defensive evil's dungeon. A hero had been tossed into Gorgu's chambers. A hero disappeared into Gorgu's chambers. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. Once again, a portal opened in the dungeon.
There are enemies in your dungeon. It's payday.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. A pathetic hero languished in prison. The horrible evil could feed him to Gorgu. Feeding evil was done. Gorgu was reasonably sated. Theoretically, all it had to do now was initiate his transformation. Or it could feed Gorgu even more to make him, even more powerful.
Come on, men! Get yourselves together and finally put an end to that thing!
Gorgu let out a deafening, satisfied belch that sent the remaining heroes fleeing.
Getting the absolute evil back on its feet was a lot easier than I thought.
Like sun, while the Cathedral of Light, Tanos, had returned. He celebrated his brilliant rebirth exuberantly and licentiously in the great Cathedral of Light. But Talia was not yet defeated and swore, yet again, revenge. Tanos's... All's well that ends evil. Tanos had discovered that he could charge the Gauntlet of Finitude with evilness. It seemed obvious for him to perform evil deeds in exchange for letting the common good win in the end. If looks could kill, Tanos had destroyed the Gauntlet of Finitude and absorbed its power. The resulting transformation was unpleasant. Talia and the fleeing evil got the hell out of there. The Finitude drill. Talia and the Absolute Evil were able to escape from the gigantic Tanos. To defeat him, they would have to reassemble the Gauntlet of Finitude. But before they could do that, they first needed the Stones of Finitude. Some of them should be able to be found nearby. Doom Hill. Talia and the Stones of Finitude gathering evil were on the trail of the fourth stone. This should be located somewhere near the volcano they call Doom Hill.